Most people think minimalism is a saving strategy, but the data says something completely different. Here is the uncomfortable truth that almost nobody talks about. According to the Journal of Consumer Research, over 60% of household purchases are unplanned and impulsive, meaning the average person is not losing money because they own too much. They're losing money because they never learn to think before they buy. 60% plus of household purchases are unplanned. Journal of Consumer Research, Volume 39. So, if decluttering your apartment hasn't made you richer, and statistically for most people it hasn't, the question you should really be asking is this. What if the problem was never how much you own, but how deliberately you spend? Stay with me because in the next few minutes, I'm going to show you the 10 minimalist money rules that actually compound your wealth, and a few popular ones that are quietly draining it. So, minimalism is trending again. Emma Chamberlain decluttered her closet. Underconsumption core is taking over TikTok. Doinfluencing swept the internet. And if you are a millennial like me, you probably remember the first wave, back in 2015, when a certain Netflix documentary had us all asking whether our stuff sparked joy. The question today is the same as it was back then. Does owning less actually make you richer? Let me introduce you to a woman we will call Maya. In her early 30s, middle-class income, stable career. She believed the path to financial stability was straightforward. Earn more and buy less. She went all in on minimalism. She watched the documentaries. She read the books. She decluttered everything. At first, it felt like it was working. Her apartment was cleaner. Her spending slowed temporarily. She felt, for the first time, like she had figured out money. But within a year, she noticed a pattern that made no sense. The things she had discarded were slowly reappearing in her shopping cart. She was rebuying kitchen tools she had thrown away, replacing cheap clothing that fell apart, repurchasing items she convinced herself she no longer needed. The average American household spends 90 to 95% of annual income, leaving 5 to 10% available for savings or investment. U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics. And here is what made Maya's experience significant. Not just personally, but statistically, she was not unusual. Consumer behavior researchers have documented this cycle in detail. When people adopt extreme minimalism without an underlying financial decision-making framework, they often replace the psychological reward of shopping with the psychological reward of discarding. The spending pattern shifts, but the underlying behavior does not. Impulsive decluttering followed by replacement purchases is documented in 30 to 40% of extreme minimalist adopters, Princeton University Consumer Economics Research. The question nobody is asking. Maya thought minimalism was about owning less. She was wrong. The real question was never about the number of items in her apartment. It was about the quality of every single financial decision she made. Is minimalism really about owning less? Or is it about spending smarter? That single reframe changed everything for her. And it is the foundation of every rule we are going to talk about today. And this is where the real financial story begins. The 4 financial twists that change everything. Twist 1. Income does not equal wealth. Early in her career, Maya's salary steadily increased. She was earning more every year. She did everything she was supposed to, worked hard, got promoted, reduced her possessions. But her bank account told a different story. The Federal Reserve Survey of Consumer Finances tracks wealth accumulation across American households over decades. What the data consistently shows is this. Income growth alone does not produce wealth. What produces wealth is the growing gap between what you earn, what you spend, and what you invest. Median net worth for Americans aged 35 to 44, $35,000 to $50,000, despite rising incomes across that age bracket. Federal Reserve SCF, 2022. Top 10% of wealth holders own approximately 67% of total U.S. wealth, almost entirely through invested assets, not higher salaries. Federal Reserve, 2022. Maya assumed higher earnings meant automatic financial stability. What she discovered was something far more inconvenient. Income only creates wealth if the gap between earning and spending consistently grows, and if the excess is invested, not just saved. This was the moment she started asking a different question. Not how do I earn more, but where is every dollar actually going? Twist 2. The lifestyle inflation trap. As Maya's income increased, so did her spending. Better clothing, upgraded gadgets, more convenience purchases. This is not a character flaw, it is a documented economic phenomenon. The Bureau of Labor Statistics has tracked consumer expenditure patterns for decades. The data is consistent. For every additional dollar of income a household earns, it increases spending by 60 to 80 cents. Economists call this lifestyle inflation, and it is one of the most powerful silent destroyers of long-term wealth. Households increase spending by 60 to 80 cents per additional income dollar. Lifestyle inflation. U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics Consumer Expenditure Survey, 2022. The average American household saves just 3 to 5% of disposable income in non-recessionary years. U.S. Personal Saving Rate. Federal Reserve Bank of St. Louis/Fred. Minimalism initially helped Maya reduce some of that spending. But extreme decluttering introduced a new problem she had not anticipated. She was creating the psychological sensation of financial progress without making actual financial progress. The dopamine was real. The wealth accumulation was not. Owning less felt like saving more. But the numbers didn't lie. Twist 3. The cheap purchase illusion. One of Maya's minimalist rules was always to buy the cheapest available option. Frugality meant paying less. But Harvard Business Review research on consumer durability reveals a more nuanced picture. The concept is called cost per use. It measures not what you pay for an item upfront, but what you effectively spend each time you use it across its entire lifespan. A $5 kitchen tool that breaks after 3 uses costs $1.67 per use. A $20 version that lasts 4 years at 3 uses per week costs approximately 6 cents per use, roughly 28 times cheaper in real economic terms. Durable goods with higher upfront costs produce significantly lower lifetime costs due to reduced replacement frequency. Harvard Business Review. Value engineering and consumer durables. Low-quality purchases increase long-term household spending by 30 to 40% through replacement cycles. Princeton University Consumer Economics Research. Maya's $5 kitchen tool broke after 1 use. The $20 version lasted for years. She had spent more trying to spend less. Frugality isn't about paying less. It's about paying wisely. That realization didn't just change how she shopped. It changed how she thought about every purchase forever. Twist 4. The net worth realization. The turning point came when Maya sat down and calculated her net worth for the first time. Not her salary. Not her savings account balance. Her actual net worth. Total assets minus total liabilities. The real number that represents your financial position in the world. According to the Federal Reserve, the median net worth for Americans in their 30s sits between $35,000 and $50,000, a figure that shocks most people when they first encounter it, because income and net worth are very different things. Median net worth by age, under 35, $13,900, ages 35 to 44, $91,300 mean/$35,000 median, Federal Reserve SCF, 2022. Note: mean is skewed by ultra-high net worth households. Median is the more accurate snapshot for most people. When Maya calculated her own number, she discovered something that reframed her entire financial identity. Her spending habits mattered far more than how many possessions she owned. The number of items in her apartment was irrelevant. The gap between her income and her invested assets was everything. This was the moment she realized something most people never question. Income does not create wealth. Invested surplus creates wealth. Maya Financial Awakening. Primary breakthrough. The breakthrough moment came when Maya stopped asking the wrong question. She had spent 3 years asking, "Do I own too many things?" She started asking, "Does this purchase create long-term value?" That single question changed everything. Minimalism was no longer a lifestyle identity. It became a decision-making framework, a filter applied before every purchase, not a rulebook applied to everything she already owned. She stopped the impulsive decluttering. She started tracking her net worth monthly. She asked new questions before buying anything. Will I use this regularly, or is this an impulse driven by emotion? What is the actual cost per use over the expected lifespan of this item? Does this purchase move me closer to my financial goals, or further away? Am I buying this because I need it, or because decluttering created a false sense of scarcity? Secondary reflection. The compounding effect. Here is what most financial content never shows you. Wealth does not announce itself. It accumulates quietly, invisibly, through thousands of small daily decisions compounding over years. Vanguard's long-term investment research models demonstrate exactly how dramatic this effect is. An investor who begins contributing $500 per month at age 25, earning an average annualized return of 7%, accumulates approximately $1.3 million by age 65. An investor who starts the same habit at age 35 accumulates approximately $610,000, less than half, simply because the compounding window is 10 years shorter. Starting investing at 25 versus 35 with identical monthly contributions, the early starter accumulates 2-4x more wealth by retirement due to compound growth. Vanguard Investment Research, the power of starting early. $500 per month at 7% annualized return, $1.3 at 40 years, starting age 25, versus $610K at 30 years, starting age 35, based on standard compound interest modeling. The lesson is not that you need to invest large sums. The lesson is that time is the variable that matters most, and every year of delayed intentional financial behavior is a year of compounding you cannot recover. Wealth is not built by one big financial decision. It is built by thousands of small ones, made consistently over time. These 10 rules are not lifestyle aesthetics. These are financial operating principles, each one grounded in economic research and behavioral science. Rule 1. Buy intentionally, not minimally. The goal is not to own fewer things. The goal is to own the right things, items that deliver real, sustained value relative to their cost. Every purchase should pass a deliberate evaluation: need versus impulse, long-term value versus momentary satisfaction. Intentional purchasing reduces household impulse spending by an estimated 30 to 50% when practiced consistently. Journal of Consumer Psychology. Deliberate versus reactive spending patterns. Rule 2. Always calculate cost per use. Before purchasing any item, divide the price by your realistic estimated uses over its full lifespan. This single mental habit reframes cheap versus expensive into wasteful versus efficient, and it prevents the low-quality replacement spiral that silently inflates household spending. Durable goods with a 4:1 or higher cost per use advantage reduce lifetime spending by 28 to 35% in equivalent product categories. Harvard Business Review Consumer Value Research. Rule 3. Identify and audit your lifestyle inflation. Every time your income increases, conduct a deliberate audit. What did you spend last month? What new expenses crept in since your last raise? Lifestyle inflation is almost always invisible until you measure it. Measurement is defense. Households that track spending monthly save 20% more annually than those who do not track at all. American Psychological Association, Financial Behavior and Self-Monitoring Research. Rule 4. Track net worth, not account balance. Your checking account balance is a temperature reading. Your net worth is your financial X-ray. Calculate it monthly. Total all assets, savings, investments, property equity, and subtract all liabilities, debt, loans, outstanding obligations. Watch the trend, not the number. Households that track net worth monthly report 34% higher financial confidence and demonstrate measurably higher savings rates over 3-year observation periods. National Endowment for Financial Education, NEF Research Studies. Rule 5. Invest in durable goods over cheap replacements. Where it matters, tools, clothing, furniture, electronics. Calculate whether the premium version is economically justified by its extended lifespan. The cheapest item is almost never the most economical item over a multi-year horizon. Quality goods with 3-5x the lifespan of budget alternatives consistently deliver a 40 to 60% reduction in total category spending over 10-year periods, Consumer Reports long-term value studies. Rule 6. Create a 24-hour rule for non-essential purchases. Before any unplanned purchase above a set threshold, whether $20 or $200, implement a mandatory 24-hour waiting period. Research in behavioral economics consistently demonstrates that the vast majority of impulse purchase desire disappears within hours when not immediately acted upon. A 24-hour pause reduces impulse purchases by approximately 55% in controlled behavioral studies. Duke University Center for Advanced Hindsight, Behavioral Economics in Consumer Finance. Rule 7. Build and maintain automated financial systems. Willpower is a depleting resource. Automation is permanent. Set up automatic transfers to savings and investment accounts on payday before discretionary spending is accessible. The most effective financial system requires the least conscious daily effort. Automated savings participants save 2 to 3 times more annually than those relying on manual transfers and willpower alone. Vanguard Behavioral Finance Research. Automatic enrollment and savings rates. Rule 8. Prioritize long-term value in every category. Apply intentional cost per use thinking across all major spending categories: transportation, housing, food, clothing, technology. In each category, identify where cheap now is expensive later and where the premium option represents genuine long-term value versus marketing. Long-term value prioritization across major spending categories is associated with a 15 to 25% reduction in total annual household spending without reduction in reported quality of life. Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, CFPB Financial Wellbeing Scale Research. Rule 9. Let financial habits compound. Measure progress in years, not months. The most powerful force in personal finance is time. Small, consistent financial behaviors, $100 per month invested, 1 fewer impulse purchase per week, a single annual subscription canceled, compound into significant wealth differences over a decade. Judge your system by its trend, not its current balance. Investors who remain in the market consistently for 20-plus years outperform those who time the market by an average of 1.5 to 2.5% per year, equivalent to tens of thousands of dollars in long-term compounding. Dalbar Quantitative Analysis of Investor Behavior, 2023. Rule 10. Understand that time is the real multiplier. Every year you delay intentional financial behavior is a year of compound growth you cannot recover. The most powerful financial decision you can make today is to start imperfectly with whatever you have and remain consistent. Perfection is the enemy of compounding. Investors starting at 25 with $300 per month at 7% annualized return accumulate $797,000 by 65. Starting at 35 with the same contributions, $379,000. 10 years of delay costs approximately $418,000 in real wealth. Standard compound growth modeling consistent with Vanguard, Fidelity, and Schwab long-term projection research. In the end, Maya realized something she never expected when she started this journey. Minimalism was not the goal. Financial clarity was. The rules that actually work are not about the number of objects you own. They are about the quality of every financial decision you make, every day, quietly, without an audience. Wealth does not announce itself on Instagram. It does not live in a decluttered apartment. It lives in the gap between what you earn and what you invest, and in the years of compounding that follow. The people who become financially stable aren't the ones who own the least. They're the ones who decided most deliberately. If this video helped you think about money differently, share it with someone who needs it. Subscribe if you want more content that cuts through the noise with real data. And I will see you in the next one.